Welcome back to the Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. And spend some time talking to Tom Stewart. He's with an interesting organization at Oklahoma State University called the Middle Market Center. And it's an organization that is in existence thanks to both Oklahoma State University and GE Capital. And Tom, welcome to the program. How are you today?
I'm fine, Kevin, but it's not Oklahoma State University. It's Ohio State University.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry. You know what? I came from Michigan, and so it's that Wolverine aversion. Forgive me.
That could be a problem, but you know, I mean, obviously OSU and OSU, but this is, as you know, it's the Ohio State University. People call it here, and I'm based at the Fisher College of Business at Ohio State. At the National Center for the Middle Market, and it's great to be talking to you.
Yeah, and I apologize so much. I hate it when people do that with me. So, hey, not so much Ohio State, but you know what I mean. Hey, so I love what you guys do. I think it's fantastic. But instead of me just kind of awkwardly saying what I've observed about you guys, kind of give us your elevator pitch, if you would.
Sure, Kevin. The National Center for the Middle Market is about 3 years old, and we were founded here at Ohio State with backing from our partners at GE Capital to make an information desert bloom. The middle market, the 200,000 companies that are in the mid-sized companies in the United States are a third of private sector employment, a third of private sector GDP, and about 5% of the knowledge and attention from people who study management, policymakers, and so on and so forth. Very little is known about them, and yet they're absolutely vital to the U.S. economy. So that's our job, is to fill that gap in two ways. One is with data and information so that people can make smarter policies and so on and so forth, and the other is with management knowledge so that the executives of these companies can make smarter decisions to grow. I mean, these companies are producing 3 out of every 5 new jobs created in the United States this year, and they deserve more attention.
Every 5 new jobs.
Yeah, this is where growth happens. Growth happens in the middle market. We have this romance of the startup, but in fact, it's these mid-sized companies between $10 million and $1 billion where you see the fastest growth both in top-line revenue and in employment in the United States.
Tom, it's interesting, I think we live in a culture that romanticizes the small business, so it naturally gets a lot of attention. And then you look at the enterprise-level company, and it just has huge amounts of muscle that demands attention. And so it is interesting to see how the middle market has gotten neglected.
It has, and that shows up in a number of ways. In policy areas, it shows up, for instance, in we've got information that suggests, can't prove it yet, but it's pretty close. It's pretty dispositive that middle market companies are paying more in corporate taxes than the big guys or the little guys. The little guys get lots of exemptions. The big guys hire lots of accountants and can play games with different tax jurisdictions around the country or around the world. The middle market tends to be the good citizen with the factory down at the end of the road, and he tends to be or she tends to be paying a higher corporate tax rate. Similarly, on exports, the middle market there's a real opportunity to improve the export performance of these companies, which would be good for them and good for the country. But local and regional and state business development groups, they don't pay much attention to the middle market. They're like the B student that the teacher doesn't call on.
Yeah, that's interesting. What was your background before you did this?
I spent the last 5 years at Booz & Company as the Chief Marketing and Knowledge Officer, and for the 6 years before that, I was the Editor-in-Chief and Managing Director of the Harvard Business Review.
Yeah. Is that where your education background, was that through Harvard as well?
Yeah. I don't have an MBA, but I had a Harvard undergraduate degree and then went into the book publishing business and then spent, a dozen years at Fortune magazine and then went from Fortune to Harvard Business Review, then to Booz, and now back to this sort of semi-academic existence at the Fisher College at Ohio State.
And you work directly with a lot of businesses, I assume.
We do. One of the real joys of this job is the opportunity to connect, work with, get to know, interact with middle market executives, around the country.
The organization is called the National Center for the Middle Market, is at The Ohio State University, and it's done in collaboration with GE Capital. Our guest today, been a great one. Thomas Stewart, thanks so much for being with us.
Kevin, thank you.
Make sure you check them out at middlemarketcenter.org. I am Kevin Price. You're listening to The Price of Business.